Hello and welcome once again to Chances Are, where we talk about the spiciest things this side of the metro, or anywhere else actually, on the internet. So today, we're going to talk about something that a lot of people tend to overlook, a lot of people don't really think too much about, but,
There's a but.
well, sometimes fall victim to, or actually do every now and then. We're going to talk about the human ego.
Ooh.
Not really in a psychological sense. I don't think I'm qualified to dig into that particular area. A lot of people are going to be typing in the comments.
Right. We're just talking as
you're not a psychology or something like that.
no, but we're everyday people, and of course, we're gonna notice some things that may have happened to us, may happen to other people, and
Yes.
likewise, other people will see the same things as well in their day-to-day lives.
And hopefully, this could be something that could be a topic of discussion. Could open discourse to everyone, and maybe, like anyone who probably didn't understand too much about it, could have some clarity towards it. Hopefully, that's the best case scenario, right?
Right.
Worst case, people start fighting again, which I know is kind of fun.
And what are they gonna fight over this time?
Well, who has the biggest ego?
Ooh.
So, that being said, there's a lot to unpack here when it comes to the human ego. We could go from basically two friends talking about who's better than who. We could go straight to school, where a teacher is flexing too much of their power,
Right.
which was really a thing in the 90s. And we could go all the way to... Actually, this applies to almost everything.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned power in there. Like, especially when someone has that in them, they have a particular title to them, and it could be in any situation. You could be, as you said, any situation. You could be in a relationship. You could be that one partner who's more dominant, but at the same time, it's not the good kind. Wink, wink. But you can also be like, you could be in the corporate setting, and your boss or your manager. It can leak out all the way to even schools.
Corporate.
Yeah. We were both there. We know what it's like. We know what it's like. And unfortunately, that is the case. But
Yes.
do you think that this whole power trip thing goes hand in hand with ego?
Well, if we're just going to talk about basically being a human, I think if there's always this tendency, if you're kind of what's the term, weak of spirit or something like that, there's always a tendency for you as a person to wield your given power in a certain way,
Oh, okay.
depending on who you are or how you are as a person. If you're a strong-willed, strong-spirited, kind person, tendency is you're going to use your power for good, like superheroes do.
Right.
But if not, then that's basically some Homelander shit right there.
There's a really, and I'm glad that you brought up Homelander. In case you guys don't watch the series, there is one called The Boys.
Yes, watch
It's
it.
basically about superheroes. And
Watch
there's
it.
this one dude who's basically like Superman, but the good thing about this series, which is also bad, is that it highlights what can happen to you when you've got so much power in your hands. And going back to a really, really valid example, let's jump right into, let's say, relationships.
Okay,
We can be
that's something we enjoy talking about. So let's go back there.
Common theme. But yeah, you could be the dominant partner, and you may not realize it, but it might seem normal to you, like, oh, my partner's got to do this and this for me. I got to be the one in control. But there's a fine line between, being more of the what do you call that? The one who pushes things forward.
The one who
Pushes
takes
forward the agenda.
initiative.
The one who takes initiative. There's a fine line between being that partner who takes initiative and just being overpowering, controlling altogether. And I'll say this right now: I will say that it goes hand in hand with ego because I was also there at one point in time.
You're
Well-
you're also you're also dominant.
Well, I wouldn't say dumb. I was more of like I was a little whiny. I was a little whiny before.
Okay. I thought we were talking about a different kind of dominance.
Yeah.
The one you were referring to a while ago. Okay.
No.
All right.
This is not the channel for that.
Yeah.
Maybe after dark. But whatever. But no,
Okay.
I was like that, and I can attest to that. And I used to have that sort of ego in me. It wasn't so much as too dominant or whatever, but it was just me noticing every little thing and really being whiny about it. And it's true what they say, how when you get older and as you mature, you look back and you're like, well, that wasn't really good.
That
was
wasn't
it?
that wasn't really nice.
That wasn't really nice.
But the thing is, you kind of, what's the term? Whenever you have a certain level of power or influence
Yeah.
or clout, whatever, the tendency is you kind of, I don't know if the right term is abuse it, but the tendency is you lose any form of benevolence in your body. You, for example, let's go back to superheroes, right? If you had like Superman's powers, you'd like to believe, or other people would like to believe that you would use those powers for good,
Right, but there's always
Yeah.
temptation.
bar none. Like you have these powers, you need to use them responsibly. Like for Spider-Man, that worked because he wasn't really like a god or anything. But with Superman, he's totally OP. But you tend to forget that when you are in that situation of having all that power, all that influence, everything, you feel untouchable.
Yeah.
You feel like you're above everyone else. And I think this is normal across the board. Everyone who experiences any level of fame, power, or whatever up above, they will feel that. Now, it's just a matter of how you're going to manage that.
I'd just like to add that, and we're not going to justify anyone's actions for having such a big ego and power tripping, whatever their situation may be. But really, no one gives you a warning. No one gives
No
you a heads up, and
No one teaches you this.
yeah, and there might be a backstory somewhere in there. They might have had, I don't know, a troubled childhood, or they might have had past trauma, which sort of brought them to be who they are today and to do what they do. But then again, that never really gives you a right or gives you a reason to be, well, kind of a douche. And,
Yeah.
just abusing whatever power, whatever right you think you have.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, maybe in whatever line of work you're pursuing, maybe whatever thing you do right now, sure, you may be a cut above the rest, but you're not better than everyone else. That's the truth. Sorry, real talk.
Sorry.
You're not above everyone else, no matter who you are. There's always someone better than you, especially on the internet, especially if you live in America, especially if you're white. Because you know the joke that goes around?
Whoa!
Hey, it's a joke. It goes around. The joke is, like if you're a typical Caucasian American, the joke is no matter what you do, no matter how good you are at it, there's always an Asian doing it better than you.
That's just a joke. That's just a joke. Alright? It's just a joke. Man!
Man, maybe if it's like classical instruments, there's some debate there.
You are digging into all these stereotypes, man. I'm telling you.
Hey, it's on the internet. My source, the internet.
Memes.
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 Of course, we don't. Of course, like I said, going back to before the memes, there's always someone better than anyone. No matter where they come from, no matter what they do, there will always be someone who is better. Like, maybe you just haven't seen that person. Like, in MMA, John Jones, he's basically sort of kind of the best.
Right. I'm not gonna debate that.
Maybe they just haven't met that single person who could beat him. Maybe that person is an Inuit. Maybe he's an Eskimo who lives in the North Pole.
I'm getting a sense that you've also had your fair share of experiences dealing with somebody who has a huge ego, maybe even use that to sort of undermine you.
Oh, yeah, corporate. Corporate and in my old job.
I thought you were going to say something else, but sure, let's go with corporate.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay, pray tell, Zach. What do you think I was going to talk about? What do you think I was going to allude to? Maybe people want to hear about it. I don't know. Oh, relationships. Well, I've had my fair share.
We covered that already, but back to what you were
Yeah.
saying about
I've
corporate.
had my fair
Please,
share of that corporate.
please, we
Because-
don't want more fire from unnecessary
Because,
sources.
okay, this is a thing, alright? I'm just going to talk about this. This could be related or not. It's up to you to decide, whoever's listening, if it's related to ego or not. Because from what I see and from what I read, from most people around, the internet or the neighborhood, it's a cultural thing. So they say.
No, I see.
Crab mentality?
Crab mentality is a real thing.
Because I don't hear anyone like in the West talk about it that much. Maybe because it's not happening as often, but culturally for us, happens a lot.
I think
I don't
it's
know
just
why.
in our particular.
Okay, so real talk. I used to work for Koreans. I used to teach ESL, English as a second language.
Do not do an accent on me, man. Do not do an accent.
Not today.
Thank you.
We're gonna try to be
Thank you.
We're gonna try to be serious.
Oh my goodness.
Plus, I think me talking about the memes was enough stereotypes for today. So, of course, our employers were Korean. Not trying to justify or rationalize their actions of being kind of racist. Just one of them, the person who owned the place. But maybe he was not aware of how things were run here. Maybe it was a cultural barrier, a language barrier. Maybe he had no idea how to live in Quezon City. Who knows? I think he's dead now. Anyway, the people I worked with, who were also Filipino. Now, me being a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, young 20-something, I guess that's my tale, I would think, hey, you know what? This is a place owned by foreigners. I'm surrounded by people who are of my same blood and culture. Maybe, I idealistically said, maybe we're gonna help each other. Maybe when the bosses do something wrong, maybe they'll step up and say, no, that's not how we do things here. Like in Wakanda.
Right.
Not
If
gonna
it
do
were real.
Not gonna do that.
If it were real, please don't.
Not gonna do that, okay? Because to be completely fair, there are like 3 bosses there. Well, 2 of them super cool. Super cool. One of them taught me how to smoke. Next, the main guy. I don't know. He had problems.
Wasn't it cheap?
Yeah. So, the thing is, the people I work with, like most of us who were at the same level, cool, simpatico, just having fun. Because most of us were kind of young, like in our early 20s, some were even still in college.
Okay.
Now we're just having fun trying to earn money. But there's always a situation with someone out there who was the same blood as us, just trying to undermine other people. I'm not saying it's someone in upper management. I'm not saying it's one of the people I worked with directly. But there always was someone who tried their best to make sure others did not succeed. That's how I left.
Well, I'm glad that you're here now.
Yes.
And classic example there. Of course, you mentioned corporate. It could happen anywhere else. If your teacher doesn't like you, sometimes it happens. On
Teachers love me.
a more personal, more general level of things, that's why they have something that's called male ego.
Yes, the fragile.
It's
male
more
ego.
common.
Fragile male
It's
ego.
more common, and a lot of women out there are probably going to agree with this, and
Some dudes even.
yeah, I've been there, done that.
Yeah,
I was
there's
there
the
too.
dudes who can accept and embrace the fact that at some point the fragile male ego actually happens.
It's
manifests.
it's not. It's one of those levels of male toxicity,
Oh.
and it just doesn't really give a good name for everyone else within our, for the general male population. But eventually, hopefully you get to grow out of things. I don't know if you have a backstory to that, but all the same, please remember that it's not cool, all right?
Yeah.
It's not cool. Just because you have someone dangling between your legs doesn't make you king.
Exactly. Because the fragile male ego thing, I think all of us have at some point had some friends who, just said things without thinking,
Yeah.
especially if there are attractive ladies present. At some point, when you're younger and you don't know any better, you're like, yeah, they're pretty. But as you get older, it's like, oh, dude, shit. Why? Why would you say that, man? Ugh. Makes you cringe now.
Goodness, man, I have no idea you had so much of that in you.
Well, when you hang out with a lot of people over the years, my friend, when you get to this age, you'll meet a whole lot of people from many different walks of life. Man.
So riddle me this.
Okay.
How does one go about dealing with anybody with a big ego? Do you just avoid that? Do you confront them? I don't know what it is.
Okay.
But if I may, and before you answer that, a lot of people who have a big ego and are into the whole power tripping thing, whatever the situation may be, when somebody fires back at them and asks them questions, they're going to be the ones to play victim. And that's...
Oh! Yeah.
Really? You're going to do that after doing everything you've already done?
After destroying someone's life?
And now they're firing back at you? Bro, what is your deal, man? We all know you got...
Yeah.
But you don't have to be uncool about it.
Okay, this applies to both genders, right? This happens across the board, my dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not generalist.
Oh, yeah. Because how do I deal with someone like that? It depends on the person. I'm well aware that there are a lot of people out there right now who are way more alpha, way handsomer, way more abs than I do. I have a bit more of a domineering, stronger personality. So a lot of people can deal with that directly, without any repercussions whatsoever.
Okay.
But for me, I don't really have that. I bank more on my personality. Because hey, who would be intimidated by me? No one. That's why I deal with it through conversation. I just slide it in there. You know what, dude? That not cool, man. And then if they start throwing hands, and okay, let's go, I guess. I don't have any choice. It's happened once or twice before.
Well, I like that one line that you mentioned, but hey, if anybody else out there has dealt with any situation, we'd love to know. We'd love to know how you guys have dealt with whatever ego or power tripping sort of thing that you may have been experiencing. If you've learned to live with it, or if you just altogether just more avoided that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we'd love to get a discussion going. That's the whole point of the show. Let's be as critical as much as possible and question everything.
Yeah, even if you just have hate to say, go ahead. We're open to any form of discourse. That's why
we have comments.
Yeah, that's why we have comments. It's totally cool. Like, our Facebook page is an open book to anyone who's there.
And a lot of memes too.
Yeah, Twitter, go ahead. Tag something that's trending that could possibly lead to something toxic. We'll handle it. Instagram too. Go ahead. We are open to everything at this point.
It's Carlos really for him at
Zach underscore. Yeah, don't forget the underscore. Sometimes I do. So yeah.
You tag the wrong person.
Yes, I do.
At Chances Are Pod for the podcast itself. We're on Spotify and on YouTube. And by the way, if you like this video, please like it. If you dislike it, dislike it as well. We have a lot of conversation going on. And by all means, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to consider subscribing to the channel as well. And we will see you in the next one.
Let's get real. Talk truth. Talk truth. And let it all out. I'm Zach. I'm Carlos. We're speaking feelings. On Chances Are. On Republicast. Exclusively on FM1.